Panthers won the toss, they receive, and I'm sure for the Bears and their fans that doesn't break anybody's heart. It'll be the Carolina offense starting against this terrific Chicago defense. Glad you're with us today on Fox. Robertson from about the 6. Has this side of the field. Can he get to the edge? Wrestled out of bounds around the 40 by Mike Green. A 34-yard return by Jamal Robertson. He was pumped up before, during, and after every game, and his heart has got to be racing right now.
He talks about it to us each and every time we have a Carolina game. He said he's very excited coming into games, very enthusiastic and fiery, and he does not try to do anything to calm himself down. He feels that that really helps him.
Quick throw to Smith. They put it right into his hands, and Tillman brings him down immediately. A gain of only 2. However they can do it, they want the ball in the hands of Steve Smith, and this offensive line has been healthy all year. They had their worst day, Troy, by far, November 20th here in Chicago, when they gave up 8 sacks.
Yeah, and a big reason for that is they did not give their offensive tackles, Travell Wharton or Jordan Gross, help in that game. They thought they could block these defensive ends for the Bears one-on-one. They're not coming into the game with that thought process here today, however. They're going to be giving them help throughout the ball game.
2nd and 8, blitz. Urlacher was coming. Smith gets behind the defense. There's a flag down. Smith makes the reception, a move, and he's into the end zone. But a penalty flag is down, back near the spot where Smith made the catch.
Well, there was definitely contact with Charles Tillman and Steve Smith, and the Panthers are celebrating right now. That call's going to go against the Bears.
Illegal contact, 33, defense. A penalties decline, touchdown.
So Steve Smith, 2 receptions, already a touchdown. This one good from 58 yards.
Well, and you see Charles Tillman, he's watching the backfield. He's not keeping his eyes on Steve Smith. Steve Smith just ran right by him. I can tell you, Charles Tillman is a talented guy. If they're going to match him up one-on-one with Steve Smith is going to win that battle.
So against this Chicago defense, a stunning start for the Carolina Panther offense. 2 throws to Steve Smith. He's into the end zone, and it's 7-0. Great start for Jake Delhomme. You know he's going to get the ball, and even against this defense, he gets the ball, and 58 yards later, he's got a touchdown.
Well, and you see on the outside, as I was saying, Charles Tillman, he gets caught looking into the backfield. You saw Jake Delhomme there look like he was going to throw a quick pass. That's why Charles Tillman leveled off on the route, and when he leveled off, that's when Steve Smith ran by him. I think there was an ad lib there on Steve Smith's part based on the way that Jake Delhomme looked like he was getting ready to cut the ball loose and then continued on the go route. It seemed to be a pretty good adjustment by Jake Delhomme. Take a look here at Charles Tillman as he's looking into the backfield. Right there is where Delhomme ran the little fake pump, and Steve Smith ran right by him.
All right, so a couple of things. Steve Smith now 6 career postseason games, 6 touchdowns. He does it here against a Bears defense that all season long allowed a total of 10 points on the opponent's first possession, and against a team that at home allowed only 61 points all season. And in a blink, Carolina's up 7-0, and they've taken the crowd right out of the game.
And that's a great way to start the game. Remember back to the first meeting, Carolina failed to score a touchdown. They scored one on their first possession.
Rasheed Davis returning kicks, the rookie defensive back, and he can't get out to the 20. The marking of the 17, Thomas Davis on the stop, and he had help from Dante Wesley. And now here comes Rex Grossman, who, as we mentioned, has made only 7 career starts. He started 1 game this season. He has played 6 quarters, and yet this offense is thrilled to have him under center. Start with a throw. Muhammad, the former Panther, overthrown. 2nd down and 10. The incompletion right out of the gate for Rex Grossman, who is protected by this group.
And this group's done a heck of a job. You think back to a year ago, the number of sacks that they gave up, did not protect the passer very well. They've done a good job protecting Kyle Orton throughout the season. They've also done a great job in run blocking and allowing Thomas Jones over 1,300 yards this year.
Terrence Metcalf, typically the starting right guard, out with a knee injury, so Garza starts in that spot. On 2nd down and 10, Grossman down the middle of the field. Bernard Berrien, incomplete. Coverage by Lucas. Berrien is their outside burner, and Grossman led him too far.
Well, so much for working Grossman into this thing gradually. I mean, 1st and 2nd down, they come out throwing the football, and this is what they think Rex Grossman brings to the dance, the ability to get the ball down the field. And Bernard Berrien, he's their speed guy. He can really fly, and he had an opportunity on a deep one there, and Julius Peppers, who did not get a sack on Kyle Orton in that first matchup, already putting a hit there on Grossman.
Here's a throw, batted into the air by Lucas, and it falls incomplete. And just like that, it's 3 and out. Just engaged the intended receiver. Lucas got his hand in there. The reason why, if you're not familiar with Rex Grossman's history, as we watch this play again, Grossman was a 1st-round pick in 03. He sat the first portion of that season, got in at the end, played well, but then he blew out his knee in the 2nd year, and this year broke his ankle in August during the preseason and did not come back until the Atlanta game. Here is a shank by Maynard off the side of his foot, and already up 7, and Carolina already up 7. They've run 2 plays, thrown it twice to Smith, and they start with it at the Chicago 36. They throw it in Smith's direction again, and it's knocked down. Alex Brown got his hands up and knocked it away. Let's look at this defense. Brown and Agunle terrific at the defensive end positions, and there's a lot of focus on the interior defensive line as well this week. If the tackles are going to get so much help for Carolina, the linebackers, Urlacher, the defensive player of the year, but Troy, there's so many who believe that Briggs had as good a season as Urlacher did.
Yeah, in fact, the staff believes that Briggs had every bit the season that Urlacher did. And you look at this defensive group, there is not a weak spot on it. I don't know exactly how Carolina, when they look at it, as to how they're going to attack it.
Here's our first run of the game for either side. Deshaun Foster picks up 2. That'll bring up 3rd and 8.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting in talking with Dan Henning, and he said we have a game plan going into a game, and then we have a Steve Smith plan. Well, it was very obvious there in that first possession that the Steve Smith plan was the one he was working off of. They throw the quick passes out to him. They just want to get the ball into his hands. Once he's able to get the ball, he can make people miss and create big plays, and certainly he was able to run by Tillman there for the touchdown.
Delone over the middle, wide open Cole, and it's off his hand, incomplete. He found a hole in that defense. Nobody around him, but Delone threw it too high, and the punt team comes onto the field for Carolina.
And Delone knows that he missed out on a great opportunity. He had good protection. That's something that he wasn't given in that first game. Offensive line does a good job. If he's able to get that ball down on the numbers for Ricky Prohl, that would have been a big gainer.
I know it's early, Troy, but that was a big 3 and out forced by the Chicago defense. Carolina had it at the Bear 36. Picked up only 2 yards. Now Baker punts it into the end zone. Do you all realize how good the Carolina defense is? I don't know if you do. Number 3 across the NFL during the regular season. The Giants know. They were shut down last week by this Panther group, and now getting back to the line of scrimmage is Thomas Jones. This defense has been rolling. They've been doing it at home, and they've been doing it on the road. Julius Peppers lost his helmet during that last play. You look at Julius along with Buckner, Karstens, and Rucker across that defensive front. The linebackers are good. The secondary is good. There isn't a weakness in this group.
No, there's not. I mean, when you look at the Carolina defense and you compare it then with the Chicago Bears defense, they're very similar, and they've got great players at all positions.
Second down and 10. Another run from Jones, who had over 1,300 yards during the regular season. Try to do it to Rex Grossman this week. Third down and 5. Grossman buys some time and fires to the sideline. Incomplete. Sin Muhammad couldn't haul it in. So another 3 and out. Saw Julius Peppers downfield, back in coverage.
Well, I'll tell you right now, Carolina defensively has given a lot of different looks. They're doing a good job of disguising when they're bringing the 8th guy up in the box and how they're running their various coverages and trying to confuse Rex Grossman. Certainly they understand that this is a young quarterback that just hasn't seen a lot of football out on the field live.
Maynard hits another ugly punt. Takes a nice Chicago bounce and will roll down inside the 35. I'm going to do the rest of the game as Ross Porter.
As the rain begins to fall, the former Mrs. Porter said to Oral Hershiser,
Health. That's right. Put your hands together for Porsche. All set. Two head coaches in the top 2 squares, and then in the bottom, the battle between Urlacher and this defense and Jake Delhomme. Let the battle for field position begin. 7-0, Panthers on top. A toss to Foster, getting to the edge. Deshaun Foster gets smacked by Harris. Gain of 7. Not a big guy, but Lovie Smith will tell you he can hit.
Well, and that's what makes the Chicago Bears defense so good. Watch Alex Brown, the defensive end right there, and the way that he's able to run it down. Now he gets there and is able to get in the play, and then Chris Harris, the rookie, as you said, Joe, I mean, he's not one of these guys who's going to come down low on the running backs. He hits them right up there in his upper body, and a good tackler. In fact, all of these defenders are good tacklers.
Second down and 3. Hand off to Foster. Foster picks his way for a Carolina first down as he crossed the 45. And let's go down to the field with Chris Myers.
Joe, Steve Smith was one of the first players out on the field. He told me he was angry that in their meeting in November, he had 14 catches in that game, but the Bear players kept saying he didn't do much because we kept him out of the end zone. He said, I whooped him then, and I'll whoop him today. And then he said, hey, I got to go get an IV. It's going to be one of those days. And this was 2 hours before the game.
You already got Aikman tackling up here, Chris.
Steve Smith continually just thinks that he doesn't get enough respect. In fact, there's a lot of players in this game today that don't think they get respect.
Toss to Foster. He's going nowhere. Alex Brown in the middle of it, a loss of 2. Do you feel like you get the respect you deserve?
Only from you, Joe. You watch Alex Brown here, and I mean, this guy is not the biggest defensive end in the world, but he can move, and he's so agile and athletic. And you see that he just rode that block by Mangum right down in to make the tackle. And I know as well as Deshaun Foster has run the ball here in the last 2 games, he's going to have his work cut out for him running it against this group. It's a defensive front that's very active. They run a lot of stunts, a lot of twists, and they don't give a lot of running lanes for these running backs.
Into the hands of Smith again. It'll bring up 3rd and 9. Hillenmeyer on the stop. There's a lot of traffic out there when Steve Smith pops up waiting for the ball.
Well, one thing that Steve Smith can be guaranteed of is that when he catches that quick screen, he's going to have about 5 black jerseys running at him because they run sideline to sideline. Lance Briggs, Brian Urlacher. It's a very fast-flowing group. One thing we've seen already from Carolina, they don't want Jake Delhomme holding on to the ball and taking sacks. He's gotten the ball out very quick already. The 3rd time we've seen him run that quick screen to Steve Smith.
action. Looking for Hoover. There's nothing there, and Jake Delhomme dives, trying to pick up a first down. And he is brought down, it looks like, about half a yard short of a first down. It's 4th down. Tillman forced him out, and it'll be 4th down and half a yard.
Well, he was looking for Steve Smith. Steve Smith was going to run the corner route, and then he pulled up. I don't know that he thought that Jake Delhomme was actually going to be throwing him the ball, but it looked like, yeah, Brad Hoover gets in there and puts a block on Lance Briggs. Tillman doesn't put a real good hit on Jake Delhomme. It's fortunate that he didn't pick up the first down there.
Jake Delhomme is going to have to burn a timeout as the play clock winds down. Interesting sequence prior to the break. Steve Smith was watching the play clock wind down with the offense out on the field. He calls the timeout. Delhomme is upset. He was willing to take a delay of game penalty. He didn't want to burn the timeout, and then John Fox puts his arm around Steve Smith. What's he going to say to Steve Smith?
Yeah, not much. If that'd been Brad Hoover, he might have reacted a little differently.
Baker drills the punt. Wind holds it up, and it's down inside the 10 by Dante Wesley. Baker, a very good punt of 40 yards. So now with Chicago, we were going to break, and the offense was out on the field for Carolina. In that situation, you can't go for it on 4th down against this defense, not make it, and give Grossman that little head start.
You know, as much as you want to go for it as a coach, you're thinking we can pick that up. If this game's about defense and field position, which it certainly is, then you can't take those kinds of chances. And certainly against a young quarterback like Rex Grossman, they've played well against him so far. Yeah, you got to punt, pin them back, and then just play good defense.
It's funny, we talked to Muhsin Muhammad. He said our offense this season without Grossman has been run, pass, punt. Handoff is to Jones, cuts it back. Thomas Jones, a first down out at the 19-yard line.
You know, Thomas Jones, he really has been their best offensive player all season long. Watch the offensive line. John Tate, Reuben Brown, they're going to collapse that left side, and Thomas Jones going to come in behind it. Just a heck of a job there. There was nobody out there. You can see the crease that Thomas Jones had to work off of.
Quick snap. And a handoff to Jones, who picks his way for a couple.
You know, we've already seen Ron Turner, the offensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears team. I mean, they are certainly not going to get away from the running game, but it's obvious they wanted to allow Rex Grossman to kind of work his way into this by throwing the football and just kind of get the jitters out early in this game. He has yet to complete a pass, but I've got to believe at least the fact they've let him throw it, that's helped.
Hand off to Jones. Nicely played by this Carolina defense. Dan Morgan, the middle linebacker, there to make the stop, a gain of 3, and it's 3rd down for Chicago. 3rd down and 5.
And so many times you get into playoff football and every 3rd down becomes so critical because obviously it gives you another set of downs, but then it also allows you to reestablish field position when that's what you're trying to accomplish.
A blitz from Carolina. Grossman throws off his back foot. A flag is down, and there was contact. Ken Lucas and Bernard Berrien. And it looks like that's going to be against Carolina. If it is, it's an automatic first down.
It looked like they're going to get Ken Lucas.
Pass interference, 23. Defense. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
And when you hear the teammates, Rex Grossman, talk about his play as a quarterback, they call him a gunslinger. He was under pressure there from Rucker, threw it up, and there's the pass interference call against Ken Lucas.
Well, it's a heck of a job. It was an out and up by Bernard Berrien. They completely turned Mike Rucker loose on the outside. A bust in protection there, but Rex Grossman, knowing that he was going to get Bernard Berrien up the sideline, was able to just get it out there. That's a pretty good illustration there as to what kind of arm strength he has.
Another blitz from Carolina. Bears pick it up and over the middle, too high for Muhammad. Had it go off his hands, incomplete.
You know, Thomas Jones, we talked about him just a moment ago and his ability to run the football in the season that he's had, but he's been equally as good in his ability in pass protection. He picks up the blitz there by Mike Minter, which gives Grossman time. Now on the other end of it, Muhsin Muhammad, I mean, here's a guy who spent his first 9 years with the Carolina Panthers, had an opportunity there to come down with the catch, but failed to do it. These guys around Rex Grossman are going to have to be able to make those plays and help him out today.
2nd and 10, Thomas Jones over the right side. Makes the 3rd down a little more manageable, picks up 5.
Yeah, we listened to Pam at the start of the game talk about how nervous Rex Grossman was going to be when he entered this game. And, you know, he told us, hey, I have butterflies before every game, but knowing what this game means, knowing the opportunity that he has before him, I would have to believe that now that we're late into the first quarter and he's had an opportunity to throw the football. He's got hit and gotten knocked around a little bit. I've got to believe that he's starting to settle in like most quarterbacks would.
3rd and 5. Grossman fires, hits Jones, and Jones knocked down immediately. Depends on the spot. Looks like a good spot for Chicago, and a 1st down it is. 1st down Bears on that completion. A beautifully thrown ball from Rex Grossman.
And a well-designed play, and this is one of the things that the Chicago Bears actually do a pretty good job of. They're going to run Muhsin Muhammad here, and then you've got Thomas Jones just running an angle route, and you see the linebacker who goes up the field, and they put it right on Thomas Jones.
First completion of this game for Grossman. Another blitz into the air, and it drops incomplete. Wallace got his hands up, had a shot at that ball coming down and could not haul it in. 2nd and 10.
You know, so many of these defensive players, we certainly saw enough of it yesterday in those ball games, but when they cannot get to the quarterback, they've gotten very good in recent years of then going up and getting their hands up and trying to bat balls down. And we saw a lot of it yesterday, and then we saw Al Wallace here today.
Quick throw to Gage, and he is knocked down immediately. They're calling that play a catch and fumble. Peppers back the other way. Touchdown, Carolina. Gamble knocked it out of the arms of Gage. And now we'll see if it's going to be challenged by Chicago.
I don't know how you can't challenge that. It looked to me, Joe, like he never quite had possession of it. And you know, Gage is trying to catch it. Did he have it secured? And is there going to be a footage there that shows that he did not have it so that they can overturn it? But I tell you, they came up, they put the hit on him, and Julius Peppers, because he's hustling to the ball, able to then recover it and run it in.
The challenge flag is on the field, thrown by Lovie Smith.
I tell you, from that angle there, it looks like it was a reception.
It was Gamble. It was Chris Gamble, who has had another strong season. 7 interceptions, a touchdown.
Chicago is
After 6 interceptions as a rookie.
of a fumble.
Walt Coleman is still under the hood. He's the one who will make the determination as to whether there's enough evidence to overturn the call on the field, which is a catch, a forced fumble by Gamble. Gage was the one who put it on the ground, and then Julius Peppers returned it 37 yards for a touchdown. The Bears are challenging the call, saying that it should be incomplete. If it is, it's 3rd and 10 for Chicago at their own 47-yard line.
Well, certainly everything that we've seen shows that it was a reception and it was a fumble.
After reviewing the play, the receiver's right knee was down. Then the defender contacted him. We have down by contact. It will be Chicago's ball. 3rd and 11 at the 46-yard line.
Tell you what,
Chicago was not charged with a timeout.
they end up losing a yard on the play. They could have lost the game on that call. I mean, you get the feeling that this is a Chicago team. They're starting to move the ball, starting to get their legs underneath him offensively, and then this potential turnover. But because the knee was down, according to Walt Coleman, down by contact, so no fumble.
Boy, that was close too. I mean, his knee did touch the ground. It wasn't down long. In their opinion, he had possession when the knee did touch the ground, however.
3rd down and 11, and it's still 7-0 Carolina. Mark that play. Julius Peppers came across, then Miller moved.
Neutral zone infraction, 90, defense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
So it's 3rd and 6.
Yeah, that's going to be a heck of a matchup all day long there with Julius Peppers. I thought when the last time these two teams played, of course, Julius Peppers had the high ankle sprain. He also had the broken hand, but it just didn't look like he was really revved up the way that he's capable of playing. Fred Miller, on the other hand, the offensive tackle, he was playing with a broken jaw. But that's certainly a great matchup here today.
On 3rd down and 6, another blitz, and that's Gage off his hands and down to the ground. Incomplete, and the punt team comes on for the Bears.
You know, we're seeing right now these corners, Ken Lucas, he gets so physical with Gage coming off the ball. You see him immediately jam him, and just enough. He's got safety help with Minner over the top, which allows him to do it and not worry about Gage getting a free release off of him. But he jams him up and distracts the route, and they're not able to get the completion.
Maynard hangs it high, comes backward, and Carolina will end up with very good field position at home for the entire season.
And it doesn't take long watching them to see why it is that they're so good. I mean, they're very well coached, their scheme is solid, and they really have great players.
On 1st down, DeLome has time over the middle, overshoots Colbert. Time for Jake DeLome to throw it. That time held on to it a little longer than he has so far in this 1st quarter, but he missed Kerry Colbert.
I tell you, so far, Joe, Jake Delome's been given pretty good time to throw the football. I think, you know, he's probably even a little bit surprised when you think back to that last game when he got sacked 8 times. Not only was he sacked that many times, but most of the time he was under heavy pressure. But so far in this game, this offensive line's done a heck of a job.
So far, no sacks allowed. It's 2nd and 10. Pass is caught by Colbert. Colbert is knocked out of bounds by Tillman. He'll be a yard shy of a 1st down.
And we talk about this protection again. We're seeing Jake Delhomme get back and get the ball out. He's not holding on to it too much, but you see the help that they've got. They got Nick Goins out there helping Jordan Gross, and right now Charles Tillman, you know, you have something bad happen to you early in the game, like what we saw with Steve Smith go right by him for the touchdown. Right now you can tell he's a little skittish and playing a little soft.
3rd down and 1. A blitz, a handoff. Foster picks it up for Carolina and gets it into Chicago territory. Needed 1, got 6. Foster is a guy that coming into this season had the reputation of being fragile and being a fumbler. And now he is working his way toward an offseason where he will be a free agent. He's made himself a lot of money over the past month.
Well, I think he's erased any doubts that anyone in this organization might have had about him here over the last couple of weeks. And you know, he's also as regarded as a guy who didn't like running between the tackles, but he certainly did a good job on that last play.
On 1st down, Foster brought down by Briggs. Gain of 2.
I know this Carolina offense was really embarrassed by the way that they just got manhandled the last time that these two teams played. And I think Dan Henning said it best, that, hey, we're not certain how we're going to play, but one thing that we know is that these guys have a great deal of pride, and they're going to come out and they're going to put forth a much better effort than what they did in that first game.
2nd down and 8. toss to Foster. He got hit by Urlacher.
You know, Brian Urlacher didn't have a lot of big plays this season as far as interceptions and fumbles and such, but he had led the league in tackles for losses, and here's why. He's a downhill linebacker, and he navigates his way through the backside of that offensive line, and because he's so fast and so quick, he's able to get on these running backs before they even know that he's there. He's a big guy, and he's fast, and he's tough, and to me, he's the type of middle linebacker that every team would love to have.
3rd down and 9. A blitz. Panthers pick it up, go deep for Smith. Ball is up for grabs and a wrestle for it. Tillman and Smith. Who's going to pull it out?
Well, the tie goes to the offense.
And it goes to Steve Smith in Carolina. Wrestling for it with Tillman, and the call has already been made that Carolina gets it down inside the 5.
Well, you watch Steve Smith, he gestures and tries to let Jake Delhomme know what's about to happen. They brought pressure on the other side, and again, he goes right by Charles Tillman. And he just wanted it more than Tillman did. Charles Tillman was in a much better position to make that play than what Steve Smith was. But Steve Smith went up, and he just wanted it a little bit more. That's twice now they've had Tillman on Smith when he's been running down the field. And both times, Steve Smith has made the play.
That brings up 1st down and goal. The ball at the 3. Deshaun Foster won't get there. Brought down by Urlacher and Briggs. Let's go back to that completion to Steve Smith to put him over 100 yards already.
Well, Charles Tillman, I mean, he's got a size advantage on Smith. He went up high trying to get it. But Smith was able to wrestle with it. It looked like both of them simultaneously caught the ball, and then that goes to the offense. I said it earlier, Charles Tillman cannot run with Steve Smith. I'm a little surprised that they've continued to play him with Charles Tillman one-on-one.
46-yard completion now at 2nd and goal. Delhomme is in trouble. And it's incomplete. Smith was his intended target. He fell down. And eventually Michael Gaines is overthrown in the back of the end zone. It's 3rd and goal.
Yeah, Steve Smith, this time they got Nathan Basher on him, and they're going to run Hunter Hillenmeyer underneath it. I don't know that even if he hadn't have fallen down, if he would have been given an opportunity. Good job by Jake Delhomme getting the ball out and not taking a sack.
Julius Peppers is in the offensive huddle, and he will line up wide to the left of the offensive formation. The footing on that field is terrible. And it's showed with Smith on that last play. Handoff is to Foster, and he's brought down by Harris. A stop from the 1st and goal inside the 5. Here's Casey from 20. 10-0 Carolina. 3 for 3 last weekend at the Meadowlands, and he's good from 20 here against Chicago. The big stop came on 3rd and goal from that man, Tommy Harris.
Really good play by Tommy Harris. Mike Wall here is going to block down, and Tommy Harris is coming through. They're expecting Nick Goings to make the block. But watch what happens. Nick Goings is going to come down low, and that's asking a lot of him to try to take on Tommy Harris. Tommy Harris is there, and Deshaun Foster just had no chance.
Tommy Harris will be heading to his first Pro Bowl in February, and he will be joined by his teammates Lance Briggs, Brian Urlacher, on the defense Mike Brown and Nathan Basher.
But I tell you what, along that defensive line, I mean, of course, with Alex Brown at defensive end, along with Ogunleye, and those two guys certainly led the charge this year with 16 sacks combined amongst them. But the interior pass rush of Tommy Harris, Ian Scott, and Tank Johnson, and the job that they've done, because so many times if the pressure's only coming from the outside and you're not getting an inside push, a quarterback has room to step up. But Tommy Harris, he has really developed now in his 2nd season, and as you mentioned, Joe, making a trip now to Hawaii for the Pro Bowl.
So the Bears will get it back. Next, Grossman and company down 10-0. 3 seconds gone in the second quarter. Davis from outside the 5. Davis crosses the 30. The Bears lost his helmet during the play, and a 23-yard return from Davis.
I think my wife's more excited about it than what I am.
On first down, Grossman fires, and the pass incomplete, and Gamble got away with a hold. Vassin Muhammad, the intended receiver, and Gamble had a grab and a fistful of jersey when Muhammad came out of his break.
Yeah, they're trying to run the deeper curl, and Muhsin Muhammad pushes up. He got away with a little bit of a straight arm as well, and there was a little bit of a grab there by Gamble, but still, if Grossman had been able to put that ball where it should have been thrown, it still would have been an easy completion.
Penalty flags and whistles prior to the snap.
False start, 63. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
That's Roberto Garza. Let's check in with Pam.
Hey, Joe, very interesting watching Rex Grossman when he comes off the field. You get the idea he doesn't want to get a lot of information crammed in his head. Quarterbacks coach Wade Wilson tries to go through the pictures with Grossman. He'll look at him for a minute, then he'll just get up and watch the game. You got the idea that he just wants to play and not get his head filled with too much stuff.
Second down and 15. Grossman trying to set up a screen, and it's off the chest of Thomas Jones. It's something, Troy, that the Bears didn't do a lot of during the regular season, but trying to break tendencies. They came into this game looking to put a few screens in, and that was their first attempt at it. Incomplete.
Yeah, and it's also to help slow this pass rush down. That's Wade Wilson, the quarterback coach, spent a lot of time with Rex Grossman during the week. But these are the types of things the players around him, whether it's Muhsin Muhammad, Thomas Jones. Not every ball is going to be perfect, particularly when you're talking about a guy who just hasn't played much. And these guys got to make some of those tough catches for him.
Third down and 15. Grossman is going to air it out, gauge the intended receiver, and it's incomplete. Gamble was out there and then got help from Minter. That brings up fourth down.
Sorry, Joe. Right now, it just looks like Rex Grossman is just a little bit overwhelmed, and that's not entirely surprising, but you know, these are the things that you can't do. He just threw this one up for grabs into double coverage, really. And he's very fortunate that that ball wasn't intercepted, because it certainly should have been.
That's the kind of stuff that when you've got a defense as good as the Chicago Bears have, trying to force it, make some miraculous play. It's not worth the risk. Good punt by Maynard to the delight of his crowd, and Smith somehow stays on his feet. And then he's dragged down. Beautiful day on Lake Michigan. Thomas Davis, the rookie, with a veteran move on Pat Manley, the long snapper for the Chicago Bears, kicking some dirt onto his hands. It didn't affect the snap. A good punt from Maynard, and Panthers have their worst starting field position of the day. Still not bad at their own 28. Foster set up the field goal. It's 10-0 Panthers. Second and 10 for Carolina. Delon fires, and he's got his receiver Drew Carter. Started to say rookie. He's a second-year player, but he's getting his first taste of real NFL action here at the end of this 2005 season into the playoffs, and that's good for 14 yards and a first down.
And the reason he's just now getting his opportunity is because when they released Rod Gardner, it opened up a spot for him to then get onto the field, and he was a practice guy that was beating people all the time during the week, and they just felt like they needed to get him in the games and see what he can do.
First down, Carolina. Carter on the other side of the field makes a move. Has great speed. Drew Carter down the sideline. And he's forced out of bounds by Charles Tillman. And let's see where they mark him.
Well, they run the quick screen again. This time they come to Drew Carter, and Charles Tillman is just having a tough day so far. Doesn't come up and make the tackle. And as you said, Joe, Drew Carter's the fastest player on the team. I'm surprised at the end of this play that the official who was right there looking at it doesn't throw the flag, because he's well out of bounds when Charles Tillman comes in on him afterwards.
They marked him out at the 29. That step there by the left foot on the 29-yard line, that's where they marked him out. So take some of the yardage away. 29-yard completion and run, and Deshaun Foster bangs it down inside the 25. Hillenmeyer on the stop after a gain of 6. And Carolina, Troy, is doing to the Chicago Bears what they did to the New York Giants last weekend.
That's exactly right. And Dan Henning right now, at least for this Carolina offense, you got to give him a lot of credit for the offensive game plan that he has devised. They got Steve Smith involved early, and now they're starting to get the ball out to some other people. Certainly if Drew Carter and Kerry Bolton, if they become factors, Chicago's going to have some problems.
Second down and 4. DeLome over the middle. It's picked off by Urlacher. What a catch. What an athlete. Tripped up from behind and down at the 30. This Bears defense needed a spark. And the defensive player of the year just gave it to him.
Well, and now we know why he was the NFL Defensive Player of the Year. I said a little bit earlier, he had not really had a lot of the big plays that we saw of him in recent years, but they needed a big play from him now, and he was able to do it. They're going to Nick Goings down the middle against this cover 2 defense, and Brian Urlacher gets enough depth, and because of his height, he's able to go up and make a play. He was a strong safety in college, and so he's not unaccustomed to being able to make those kinds of receptions.
Wow, what a catch and what a play at the right time for the Bears. What do they do with that opportunity? Thomas Jones hits the hole hard and picks up 3 yards over the left side and back to the interception.
I mean, Jake Delhomme, he had Nick Goings going down the middle. If he had been able to get a little bit more air under that, there was a lot of room there to try to fit it in, but he didn't get it up high enough, and Brian Urlacher played a great job, or did a great job making the play there. I'm not so sure Jake Delhomme even saw it.
And returned it 17 yards after the interception. And 2nd and 7, a blitz. Jones. Rucker forces him out. And a loss on the play of 3 yards back to the original line of scrimmage.
Right now we're seeing Carolina, they're willing to bring pressure on Rex Grossman. This time it's Will Witherspoon. He's going to be coming inside. They run a little bit of a twist there with Brandon Short, and he puts the hit on Rex Grossman. And you know, Mike Rucker, we've seen Julius Peppers running from his defensive end position out to the sideline. That time we saw Mike Rucker. Certainly we've talked about the speed of Chicago's defense. Well, Carolina's defense is just as fast.
3rd and 10. Another blitz. Grossman under fire, flips it, and incomplete. First it was nearly picked off, and then off the fingertips of Thomas Jones.
Well, the first time they bring Will Witherspoon, and this time they're going to bring Dan Morgan, and does a good job. And someone, Olin Kreutz or Reuben Brown, they've got to be able to squeeze that and recognize that the linebacker blitz is coming. You can't give free run at the quarterback right over the middle of the ball.
Rucker almost came down with an interception as Grossman just threw it up. Maynard punts it away. Hits a wall of wind and goes backward. This crowd is on Maynard, letting out their frustration for what Mike Turgovac, a former nose guard at Michigan, is the defensive coordinator working hand in hand with John Fox. Using that great defensive line, the speeded linebacker, the secondary. They have overwhelmed Rex Grossman. Delhomme fires to Hoover, the fullback. And Hoover is out across the 45, knocked down very close to the 47. Let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Hey there, Joe. Bears giving up some pretty big defensive plays downfield. They didn't have some help there for a while because safety Mike Brown, he had been back in the locker room. He had to get his injured calf retaped, and his return is questionable. Meantime, left in Adewale Agunlie has gone into the locker room. He has since come back out. He had to get a retape on his hamstring. He's a little ginger right now, Joe.
And he's in at left end on 2nd down at 3. Deshaun Foster. Foster brought down right at midfield. It depends on the spot as to whether it's a first down. That's not a good sign for a guy who, and it is a first down for Carolina on that run by Foster. Lovie Smith called him the spiritual leader of our team, and a guy who missed the last 4 games of the regular season with that calf injury, and he doesn't look good at all.
No, he doesn't. And when he missed those last 4 games, this run defense really suffered. You wouldn't think that a safety would have that big of an impact, but they really like to get him down involved in the 8th guy in the box, and they're going to miss him.
Panthers run it. Deshaun Foster spins forward to the Chicago 45. Hit by Todd Johnson, who has taken over at safety.
That's one of the few times that we've seen Deshaun Foster try to bounce it to the outside and really create any positive yardage. So far, when he's been able to pick up good yardage in this game, it's been when he's run between the tackles and has just gotten north and south. Earlier in Foster's career, he liked to try to bounce everything. He's gotten better not always trying to do that in recent weeks.
2nd down and 5. Toss to Deshaun Foster. Lost the football and somehow is able to get it back. Unbelievable with that ball just bouncing off this grass, if you want to call it grass. It's more dirt than grass. Right back into his stomach with Chris Harris draped all over him.
Well, you talk about a gift. I mean, right now, a lot of things falling in place for the Carolina Panthers, short of the ruling where they didn't get the touchdown on the alleged fumble. But well, what a break there by Deshaun Foster, able to get the right bounce and then recover his own fumble.
Now it's Goings in a tailback. First down, Panthers. At the Chicago 28, Goings spins his way to the 25, picked up 3. They don't lose a whole lot when Nick Goings takes over as running back. He had his best game of the season last week at the Giants.
Yeah, of course, last year he led the team in rushing because of the injuries to Stephen Davis and then to Deshaun Foster. You know, he's really a great changeup. He's shown that throughout the season. Certainly showed to the nation last week in his ability to make people miss. A tough guy, a very versatile athlete.
4 straight runs from Carolina, 2nd and 7. At the Chicago 25, already up 10-0. Pass complete to Smith. They put it back in Steve Smith's hands, and he is wrestled down by Hillenmeyer. A gain of 5. A 2-yard shot of first down.
Well, they just keep coming back to that play, and Carolina runs it probably better than anybody in the National Football League. Normally, you try to run that play, and it's something that Jake Delhomme would just see, because if Chicago brings an 8th guy and overloads against the run, you come out and you throw it to Steve Smith. But these plays are called in what they've done today.
3rd and 2. Play action, Delhomme. Nowhere to go, throws it away. 4th down. Looking for a quick throw, it wasn't there. Pressured by a Goonleye, and a 38-yard field goal attempt coming up from John Casey.
Well, I'm sure Chicago defensively is a little concerned with how well Carolina has moved the football already here in this first half. Over 230 yards of total offense. But one thing that they have done well, which they've done well all season, is tighten up when teams have gotten down in the red zone.
Casey, 19 of 21 in his career during the postseason, make it 20.
And that's not how they got here. They got here running the football.
Casey kicks it away. Rasheed Davis stumbled. Hits it hard. Adrian Peterson takes over at running back, and Grossman fires. It's tipped and incomplete. Adrian Peterson, penalty flag is down as Peterson gets it up close to the 35, picked up 2. Peppers on the stop.
Holding. 99. Defense. 5 yards from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
So the old defensive line hold for Brenson Buckner. And a first down for Chicago. Let's check in with Chris Myers.
Joe, one of the few mistakes by that defense, but after each of the last few series, the defensive backs on the Carolina bench would walk over and high-five the defensive line. Coming in, they felt they could keep Rex Grossman in check, and you can hear some of the chatter in between from the defense that, hey, last week it was Eli, today it's Rex, the kid's in trouble.
And the kids, period, have been in trouble so far this postseason. The guys making their first starts. First down, quick strike to Berrien. Bernard Berrien is into Carolina territory to their 43, a gain of 17.
Well, and that's really the type of throw that Grossman needed. Watch how soft Chris Gamble here is, and it's an easy completion. Looked like Julius Peppers was expected to be able to get underneath that route. But Rex Grossman just needed an opportunity to try to make some easy completions, and certainly that's what Ron Turner, the offensive coordinator, is trying to do for him.
Longest play of the day for the Chicago offense. Back to the air, over the middle, Muhammad. First down inside the 20. Back-to-back completions from Rex Grossman, 17 and now 24 yards to Muhammad.
Well, it's a heck of a job. Muhsin Muhammad is able to get into the hole. The defense clearly was expecting run, and you can see the cavern right there in the middle of the field, and Rex Grossman lays it out there to him. Had he have been able to get this ball up and let Muhammad catch it on the run, he might have had a chance to outrun Marlon McCree to the edge.
First down from the Carolina 19. Another throw over the middle. Berrien. Bernard Berrien making moves down near the 5. They'll mark him just shy of the 6. It's first and goal. And they have put it in Rex Grossman's hands on 3 plays in a row.
And they've done a heck of a job. And I'll tell you, though, Joe, they've got to be a little careful. I mean, this is a good defensive team that's excellent in pass coverage, and you can't continually drop back and expect to make a living doing it. Thomas Jones has run the ball well in this first half when he's had his opportunities. Now, Bernard Berrien is a guy who's really come on here over the last few ball games, and if they can get him going, then they can create some big plays like they did there.
It's a timeout, Chicago. It's first and goal, and Lovie Smith, with the play clock winding down and his young quarterback under center, panicked a little bit and called timeout. Talked about the young quarterbacks.
Well, my question would be, where does Rex Grossman fit into that exactly? I mean, he's young, but yet he's in his 3rd year. He's made his 8th NFL start here today, but yet this year he's only played 6 quarters, and so as young as those guys are, even though it was their first playoff game, all of them have had much more playing time than what Rex Grossman has. I mean, if they're young, then Rex Grossman's, he's just a baby.
39 passes all season long. He's thrown 18 in this first half. First and goal. And Peterson is brought down back at the 9 by Brandon Short. It's interesting. I know this is the drive where they're featuring Adrian Peterson, but they're knocking on the door, and their best back, Thomas Jones, a 1,300-yard season, is over on the bench watching Peterson run the ball.
But they really like Adrian Peterson, and when he's gotten his opportunities, he's really done well. And so obviously Thomas Jones is their best back, but this staff has tremendous confidence in his ability.
Evidently. Second and goal. Grossman buys some time, hits Peterson out of the backfield, but he's got nowhere to go. Morgan was out there for Carolina. A gain of 3, and it's 3rd and goal.
Yeah, they're trying to run. They had double slants to Rex Grossman's backside, and that's where he wanted to go with the football. They do a good job here of picking it up. Rex was already off of it once Bernard Berrien was able to get by Ricky Manning.
Grossman with 4 straight completions. It's 3rd and goal. complete. Gage trying to fight his way in, and he is wrapped up short by Minter. And this crowd already begging for the Bears to go for it.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is a heck of a tackle by Mike Minter. It looked like Gage was going to have no problem getting it into the end zone, but Mike Minter is right there to meet him. And then you've got the help. It looked like Ken Lucas then is the one who kept him from getting all the way in. And I would be surprised here if Lovie Smith doesn't go for it.
We are at the 2-minute warning. It's 4th and goal, and the early indication is the Bears will go for it down 13-0. Minter wrapping up Gage, forcing 4th and goal. The play when we come back. To nothing, 4th and goal. Peterson reaches out, touchdown.
Just enough movement along that offensive line, and they're able to get the ball to Peterson, and he just breaks the plane there. You see the side judge come in and make the call for the touchdown. He's cut short of the goal line, but the extension there is what broke the plane.
Buckner down below, Minter up top. And with Peterson reaching around Mike Minter, in he goes, and it's a 6-point game with 1:57 left in this first half. I know going to break we talked about whether you would go for it or not. You think it's the right call. In the end, it obviously is because they got the touchdown.
Well, I think that there are a lot of coaches out there that would disagree with that. But I think in this situation, when you're talking that you're down 13-0 and you've got your offense finally down that close to scoring, you're playing at home. I think you've got to believe in your team and have confidence and show that offensive line that you can get the necessary yard and get it in. Right now at 13-7, obviously going in at halftime feeling a lot better about your ball club than you would have at 13-3.
If that is the score going in at halftime, 1:57 remaining. Now you're Chicago. Your offense just showed something. Grossman made at one point 4 straight completions, got him down into the red zone and eventually into the end zone. And Grossman finally caught fire there on that drive. You've already got that great defense. They're back in this game.
Well, there's no question, and with Rex Grossman, that's the type of drive that he needed. He was able to string together some completions, some big plays, get the ball down the field. That's what the coaches felt that he would bring to this team offensively that Kyle Orton lacked. They were finally able to complete some of those, and then they moved the football the way in which they did. I just think they've got to be careful and not rely too heavily on that.
Each side with 2 timeouts remaining. Gold pops it up. On a hop, it's Robertson. Just hanging on to the football, happy to. Returns it 11 yards. Ian Badejo, their top tackler on special teams, there for Chicago, and back to the 4th and goal.
Well, got met in the hole there by Brenson Buckner, and had he have been able to hit him a little bit higher, he may not have been able to get it in, but I just thought it was a heck of a drive by Chicago, one that they desperately needed here before the half, and one that should calm down Rex Grossman and have him feeling pretty good coming out here in the second half.
6-point game. Starting from their 30. DeLong under pressure, throws and completes it somehow to Foster, who goes down in the arms of Lance Briggs.
Well, they're finally able to get some pressure on Jake Delhomme. Now the question becomes, if you're Carolina, how aggressive do we want to be here in trying to move the football? They're clearly going to the no-huddle and trying to get into a position to get points here at the end of the half.
It'll be a false start. Cost him 5 yards.
False start, 76, offense, 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Here, this crowd now is creating some noise. That should give these defensive ends an advantage, getting pressure on Jake.
Penalty flag on the play. Deshaun Foster wrapped up. Brought down by Tommy Harris, but it looked like Chicago came across early, and Carolina will get the 5 yards right back.
Offside, 93, defense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Gunlier, who created some headlines on Monday when he said the Panthers don't deserve the credit they were given as preseason Super Bowl favorites. I've read that quote 60 times. I don't even understand it, but it somehow upset Carolina, at least certain players. That talk died down, and now we're just watching two good, talented football teams banging heads.
Yeah, nobody's even thinking about all that talk now, Joe.
2nd and 7. Foster wrapped up. Tank Johnson. And now a timeout will be taken by Chicago.
Well, and it's decision time for Carolina. Do they try to run the ball again, which I think that they will, and force Chicago to then burn their last timeout? But then Chicago will have an opportunity to maybe move the ball and get another opportunity to come away with some points. A good job there by Tank Johnson and Tommy Harris of wrapping up Deshaun Foster and not letting him go anywhere.
Those are the guys on the interior part of the defensive line, which was a focus coming in for Carolina because you knew they were going to help on the edges. But the question was, could Tank Johnson, Tommy Harris, Boone, and others get there? And lately they've shown up.
I think Lovie Smith said it best. He said, whoever has the one-on-one matchups, they're the ones who have to win. If they're going to double our outside guys, Tommy Harris and Tank Johnson, they have to win on the inside. And for the most part, they've done a pretty good job.
3rd and 9. They're letting the play go as DeLong finds Steve Smith. What a move by Smith for a first down. Penalty flags are down. They let the play continue, so you have to believe that's against the defense.
Yeah, because they let the play go, but what I'm surprised
Offside,
of,
defense, and penalties decline. Play results in a first down.
Jake Delhomme had an opportunity. He had a free play, and he had a deep receiver down the middle of the field, so he could have taken a shot and seen what happens, but he elected not to make that throw, and then he came underneath to Steve Smith.
Carolina with 2 timeouts left, and now their thinking may change. They have a first down, 1:06 remaining in the half. They're at their own 41. What a half for Steve Smith. That was Wharton working against Alex Brown. And you can see Walt Coleman say he's got it on the quarterback. They're going to call Jake Delhomme.
False start, 17, offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Too much movement.
So they called it on Jake Delhomme. Say, I certainly did not see Travell Wharton move. Now, if you're one of these offensive tackles and you got Alex Brown and Urlacher on the other side of you, I mean, it's tough business. You've got to be able to get out of there pretty quick.
It's a left hand and left arm right there flashing down that made Brown come across, and they called it against Jake Delhomme. It was a good call. 1st and 15. Delhomme with a pocket, steps up and fires, hits Steve Smith. He's got a first down inside the Chicago 45. And a timeout is called by Carolina. Delhomme, even after that completion, still arguing.
Second team timeout. Carolina, 30-second timeout.
Is he a beauty or what? Over there's to send Casey out for about a 47-yard field goal. That's the edge of his range, so they have to get it to the 30 or just inside. They're going for more than that. Carter incomplete. Covered well by Tillman, who knocked it away.
Well, I tell you what, they got away with one there. It looked like Carter certainly had a step and was going to be able to haul this one in. And Chris Harris, it looked like he was expecting maybe a little bit of help from Chris Harris. Charles Tillman's going to come in, and he got a hold of his shoulders long before the ball got there. I tell you, I said it a little bit earlier, Charles Tillman, they've been going after him a little bit here in this first half, and he has struggled.
We asked Jake Delhomme, which corner are you likely to pick on? He didn't answer it. He has in the first half. The answer is Tillman. They haven't gone at Vasher at all. Delhomme underneath to Goings. Nick Goings. Just shy of the 30. Urlacher on the stop. They're under 40 seconds left in this half. A 14-yard catch and run by Nick Goings.
That's the play Brian Urlacher was talking about that's been very frustrating for them defensively when they've got people covered up in the intermediate zones. The quarterback coming underneath to those checkdowns.
Right on the edge of Casey's field goal range as Delhomme steps up and throws. Caught by Prohl. Ricky Prohl is inside the 20. Has enough for a first down, and with 7 seconds remaining to tell it, the Panthers will take a timeout and bring Casey onto the field.
Well, they brought pressure, Chicago did, and they did a good job of picking it up. And Jake Delhomme, I mean, he's not a real big scrambler, but yet he slides very well within the pocket. Looked like they might have had him there, but he steps up and then is able to make the throw. And what a heck of a drive this has been for Carolina. Now, you look at Jake Delhomme, and over the last several years, certainly going back to 2 years ago when he took his team to the Super Bowl, and we've had a chance to follow him since that time, and he just seems to really elevate his game there at the end of the first half, or certainly when the game's on the line at the end of the second half. It's a little bit demoralizing for this Chicago team that your offense is able to go down the field and get a touchdown, only to give up points potentially here right before the half.
That is up to Casey, who will attempt a 37-yard field goal. 2 for 2 today, and so far 5 for 5 this postseason. Casey drills it to make it 16-7 at the half. Chicago finally got on the scoreboard, and then the Panthers went back down the field, and they pick up 3 before the end of the first half here in Chicago. It's a 9-point Carolina lead. Visa halftime show coming up after this break. So they've shored up the protection against this very good Bears defensive front. This is Peterson taking it on a hop. And Adrian with a nice return out across the 30. Good field position for the Bears after a 17-yard return. Missed the last 4 regular season games. Grossman finished the first half with 5 straight completions. They start the second half here with Jones on the carry, and Thomas picks up 3. Morgan and Witherspoon on the tackle. Let's take a look at the first half stats. Rushing yardage, just total yardage, dominated again by the Carolina Panthers. We were looking at these same numbers last weekend at the Meadowlands.
It looks a lot like those, doesn't it, Joe? And you know, I don't know that you can say enough about what the offense has done. Certainly the defense for Carolina has been very dominant in this first half as well, but the offensive line doing a good job and not giving up the sacks that they did in that first meeting. 2nd down and 7, and Jones will try to get to the edge. Gets a block from Berrien, and Jones down the sideline into Carolina territory. Morgan is slow to get up at the end of the play, but Bernard Berrien with little brother Julius Jones watching big brother Thomas reels off a 24-yard carry. And that's really what they had to get going. Bernard Berrien does a good job just distracting Ken Lucas enough to allow Thomas Jones to get out on the edge. And you know, we talked about it in the first half. Even though Rex Grossman threw the ball well there at the end of the second quarter, this team's built around running the football. You can't get away from it.
The 24-yard carry, and out more from Thomas Jones as he sticks his head down and pokes it ahead for 4. Short on the stop, and let's go down to Chris Myers.
Joe and Troy, Coach Fox was happy with his offensive line performance and will run the ball more in the second half. You'll see more in Nick Goings. He thought it was an advantage for his defense that Grossman was throwing so much, just what Troy was talking about. If you live by the past, the Panthers thought it was to their advantage. He always issues a challenge to his team before they head out. He said, we're 30 minutes of football away from Seattle. Finish what you started.
We told you Morgan was banged up on that 24-yard run by Thomas Jones, still on the sideline. Looks ready to come back, and this was a dangerous pass to Muhammad. Gamble was there to make the hit for Carolina, and that brings up third down.
A very dangerous throw there by Rex Grossman, and these are the throws that you don't make if you've got experience in the league. Jason McKee goes outside, and then you're going to see Gamble cluing inside to Rex Grossman the entire time. Now, if Rex Grossman had led Muhammad on that throw, Chris Gamble was there for the interception.
It's third down and 6. Bears right now not in field goal range for Robbie Gould. A blitz from Carolina. Grossman fires high, and what a catch by Berrien. Had to reach to grab it, and he has a first down for Chicago. It's not just speed with Berrien. He just showed off good hands.
Well, and he did a good job of staying with the route, because Bernard Berrien is going to be coming across. He has to loop here before he runs the crosser because of the pressure there by Julius Peppers. And the ball gets on him awfully quick. As soon as he came out of that break, all of a sudden you've got the ball on you. A good catch with his hands. Ricky Manning, the guy in coverage.
Just inside the 25-yard line, play action. Grossman buying time, gets away from Peppers. Now outrunning Buckner, and he throws it away. Once you break the pocket, you are out of the pocket. And even though there was no receiver in that area, and now a penalty flag is down way back in the secondary, right around the 3-yard line. The officials get together, and early indication is it's against Carolina.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, 30, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, Mike Minner, he's here, and he's on Muhsin Muhammad, and there's going to be contact. The flag came out late. And at that time, Rex Grossman was looking around. Well, that's where the contact was made, and that's when the flag was thrown. Rex Grossman, who was moving around, it was their opinion that he had not yet left the pocket.
Toss to Jones. And Jones did what he could. A lot of push by that defensive line for Carolina. They got upfield and forced Jones out of bounds, a gain of only 2.
Well, I like the balance right now that they're showing. I mean, they're creating some plays with the passing game, but then they're mixing in the run, something that they did not do much of there in the first half. I mean, this is a Carolina defense, just like any good defense, that if you get one-dimensional, which they did for the most part, it then becomes that much easier for them to slow you down.
2nd and 8. Bears have not been scared to let Grossman throw. He does here. Fires, caught. What a catch. 1st and goal. That's Berrien again.
I'll tell you what. I don't know that I've ever seen a bigger hit than that one right there by Mike Minner. Ken Lucas here on Bernard Berrien, and he's running what's called the quick post. And Mike Minner puts a hit on him as soon as the ball enters his hands, and Bernard Berrien is able to hang on to it. Tell you, Bernard Berrien, he's having himself a heck of a game, more involved in this game than at any other point this year.
1st and goal, they let Grossman throw. Clark, the tight end, touchdown.
just run Desmond Clark to the corner. Will Witherspoon, who gets tripped up. He wasn't in a very good position to make the play anyway, but once he fell down, it was just a matter of Clark being able to get underneath the throw.
Panthers have been able to move the ball today on this Bears defense, but now it looks like they'll have to try and do it without Deshaun Foster. We're looking at his right ankle over on the sideline. The pass complete to Steve Smith, who gets a hit from Chris Harris, spins forward, and is brought down just shy of midfield with a Carolina first down.
They just haven't been able to slow down that wide receiver screen. They keep getting it out there to Smith, but they haven't been able to slow it down. Right now, Deshaun Foster, and it looked, Joe, like he got rolled up there along the right leg. It seemed like they were checking his right ankle.
He appears to be in a lot of pain, and a guy who's had to deal with a clavicle injury last year, blew out his left knee as a rookie, went on IR. First down, DeLong looks for Smith, and he finds him. Smith dives down inside the 45 to the 44. Urlacher on the stop. A gain of 7, and they're making it look easy. Just DeLong pops up, throws it to Smith, and Smith does his thing in the open field.
Well, this is such an important drive right now for the Chicago defense. I mean, the last time there in the first half that their offense was able to go down and get a touchdown, Carolina went right down the field and got points of their own. And now we're seeing that again, that Chicago opens up the second half, gets a touchdown, and here Carolina is again on the move.
A blitz. Goings with nowhere to go. Johnson was out there. Vasher. And a loss of 2 on the play. It's third down.
Well, they bring the pressure that side, and so right here, and they just couldn't get him to the outside. They get the ball to Goings, and initially it looked like they may be able to get on the edge, but Nathan Vasher there to turn it back inside to Urlacher and Tank Johnson.
So now a big third down for Carolina. 3rd and 5.
And this is where Chicago was very good throughout the season. Number 2 in the National Football League, have not been good today, stopping Carolina on 3rd down.
DeLong over the middle, hits Prohl, and the former Bear has a Carolina first down. And what he has said will be his final season of a 16-year career. Prohl has enough for a first down.
You know what's amazing, Joe, is here we came into the game talking about pressure, and neither quarterback has yet to get sacked. And Carolina has done a good job of getting the ball out. When they go to their deeper throws, they give the tackles some help. But with that wide receiver screen, it allows Jake to get the ball out. And then on that last play, it's 5 steps and throw.
DeLong loss of football, got it back off the hands of Goings and incomplete. For more on Deshaun Foster, let's go down to the sideline and Chris Myers.
Joe, it's an injured ankle. His return is questionable. He leaned over in excruciating pain, covering the visor on his helmet. First player over was injured running back Stephen Davis to tell him to hang in there. They've taken him in for observations. Remember, he came in with a turf toe injury and battled a shoulder injury, but unlikely to return in this game.
All right, Chris, thanks. There's Stephen Davis, who played 12 games and had 12 rushing touchdowns for the Panthers.
Well, they can still run the football effectively with Nick Goings, and we talked about it in the first half. He's an accomplished runner, and not much is going to change.
2nd and 10. DeLong over the middle, off the hands of Mangum, and down to the ground. He was wide open and dropped it.
I tell you, we've seen a lot of balls get batted up in the air off of receivers' hands, balls deflected, and so far, Chicago's not been able to make the catch in order to get the interception or get somebody around the football.
With 8:06 left in this 3rd quarter, it's 3rd down and 10. DeLong, down he goes. Ball came out. Walt Coleman has already signaled that Carolina keeps the football, but it's 4th down. And it's Travell Wharton who comes away with it. Ogunleye knocked it out.
Ogunleye knocks it out because he's one-on-one with Jordan Gross. Nick Goings was there in a position to provide a chip before going out into his route. He did not, and that's why Ogunleye was able to get around Gross and then make the play.
So with under 8 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, coming into this game talking about all the defense and the sacks, that is the first sack of this game for either team. Urlacher gets it. Baker punts it. Berrien lets it go over his head, and it's touched by Thomas Davis. A date in Seattle for the NFC Championship game next Sunday is on the line. 2-point lead for Carolina, starting at their own 7. The Bears open with a throw to the sideline. Muhammad, and the throw drifts out of bounds. Watching Rex Grossman, and something that caught your attention, Troy, was the glove that he wears in his throwing hand.
Yeah, in fact, started talking to him about it, and he said that going into mini camps last March, it was cool here in Chicago. He went with the glove to keep his hand warm, and liked the way that he threw the ball with the glove and the way it felt with the ball in his hand. He worked with it all throughout practice, was afraid to use it in a game because it was so cold. His first game against Atlanta, he had to wear it, and he's been wearing it ever since.
Penalty prior to the snap. It's against Chicago.
Full start, 74, offense. Half the distance to the goal. Still second down.
Yeah, you're seeing more and more of these quarterbacks try wearing the glove, and you know, with the balls that come in, you're never sure what the consistency is going to be of those, and especially when you're playing in inclement weather, which you're inclined to do at times here in Chicago. The fact that he's been able to find a glove he's comfortable with really gives him confidence, regardless of what the weather is, that he'll be effective.
2nd and 13, the Bears hand to Jones, and he takes a seat. Lucas on the stop. A gain of only 2, and it's 3rd and long. Rex Grossman started this game, glove and all, 3 out of 15 for 2 yards. Since then, 8 for 10 for 92 yards and a touchdown.
He's played very well here at the end of the second half, or at the end of the second quarter, and then here to start this 3rd quarter. This is a dangerous situation here for a young player. Do you try to pick up the first down on 3rd and long, or do you play it somewhat conservatively and punt?
The answer is the latter, conservatively, and what a play by Witherspoon. A free agent to be, getting better and better every week. A loss of 4, and it's 4th down. Maynard is going to have to punt out of the back of his end zone.
And I tell you, Will Witherspoon is going to make a great addition for some club if he's not able to get re-signed here to Carolina. He has really had a heck of a season. And before, whenever Dan Morgan would get injured, he would go play middle linebacker. This year, when Morgan would miss games, he got to stay at the weak side, and I think it's helped him have the year that he's had.
Maynard hits a line drive punch. Smith will stay away from it. It takes a good Chicago bounce. All things considered, the Bears will take it. As the quarterback and starter for the Bears this season, did everything that the Bears asked of him, and I think exceeded expectations across the board.
Well, obviously he's disappointed that he's not playing in this game, but he did acknowledge that he did not play well down the stretch, and it was unfortunate for him, but he understood the decision that they made to go with Grossman.
5.5 to go, 3rd quarter. Carolina up by 2. Underneath, it's Goings, and Goings got to the 49.5, but there's a penalty flag down in the secondary, and it's a hold against Chicago, so it'll be 5 yards and a 1st down.
Holding, 33, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic, 1st down.
Well, again, it's Charles Tillman, and he's out there on Steve Smith, and Steve Smith starts to the outside, comes back in and then around, and he grabbed enough of him. Once he's engaged in him after 5 yards, you got to let go.
Vasher, the other corner, is going to the Pro Bowl, had 8 interceptions, 2 against Delhomme and the Panthers in Week 11. Smith has been across from Tillman most of the day. Hand off miss to Goins, and off the edge it's Briggs on the tackle. Took the kickoff down the field into the end zone for a touchdown throw to Desmond Clark. It's 16-14 Carolina, 2nd and 7. Into the arms of Smith, and what a tackle by Vasher. For the first time all game, Smith is brought down by the first guy who puts his hands on him, and this time it's Nathan Vasher.
Yeah, it really was. It's the first time that they've been able to stop the play and watch. Vasher comes up and works around Michael Gaines, who was trying to kick him out, and then makes the tackle on Steve Smith. And if Vasher's not able to make that play, Carolina had some blockers out in front, and it looked like it could have been another big play.
Instead of loss of 2, it's 3rd and 9. DeLong with time, steps up and finds Smith. First down Carolina. It's Steve Smith again at the Chicago 29. He is unbelievable.
Well, they're trying to double him with Chris Harris and then with a corner, but this is where they're susceptible. When you run the square in, that's the hole in the cover 2 defense. And so he gets inside of Vasher, and you see the hole, and he gets in front of Chris Harris. And the ball's in his hands before Chris Harris is there to make a play. That's the one weakness of that cover 2 zone. And Steve Smith has now gotten in there on that route a couple of times today.
DeLong under pressure. Urlacher can't bring him down. Drops it off to Robertson, who's brought down by Agunlier. And a big loss on the play. A loss of 10 on that completion to Jamal Robertson.
Well, he'd have been better off just knocking that one down. I mean, they lost yardage on the play. Of course, it's easy for me to say from up here. When you're out there on the field and the ball's coming to you, your reaction is to catch it. But Brian Urlacher had a great opportunity to make the play on Jake DeLong and just couldn't get him to the ground.
And now Chicago has to call a timeout. Couple of injuries, and they start to pile up on each sideline.
I mean, the last area of this team that you thought you'd be questioning in this game would be the defense, and yet they have given up a lot of yards here tonight.
Great work by the Carolina offensive line. It's 2nd down and 20. DeLong is going to shoot for Smith. Down the field, Smith has another. Thompson fell down, and Smith was left alone. Smith quieting this crowd. Thompson took a seat, and Steve Smith adds to his career day here in Chicago.
Yeah, again, you got Chris Thompson, and he's looking into the backfield and then gets tripped up. There's no safety coming over the top. And so Chris Thompson just did not expect Steve Smith to be on the go routes. 2 touchdowns now to Steve Smith with corners falling down. That time Chris Thompson, the previous time Charles Tillman.
Just inside the right upright to make it 23-14. It's again a 9-point game, and DeLong had time. The offensive line for Carolina has done a fantastic job to give DeLong time.
Well, they really have, and in that situation, 2nd and forever. As a defensive back, how can you not guard against the deep ball? I mean, you almost have to expect that they're going to be running the ball or throwing the ball at least 20 yards. Or maybe take a shot down the field, and that's what Carolina did. But the entire time that Steve Smith was running the route, Chris Thompson was cluing into the backfield and was not in a position to run with Steve Smith, who's one of the fastest players in the National Football League.
Well, I'll pose this question. Maybe there's an obvious answer to it, but how on 2nd down and 20, with Steve Smith having the game he's having, how does he end up across from Chris Thompson?
I wish I had the answer for that, Joe.
He's a 2nd-year player out of Nicholls State. Pickup from Jacksonville, but this is a defense that has relied on great corner work from Tillman and Vasher. But it's Chris Thompson who blows the coverage, falling down, covering Steve Smith.
You know, one thing these Bears corners, they do not flip, or at least they have not done much of that this year.
That better change soon with the kind of day that Steve Smith is having. Here's Rasheed Davis. Nice return by Davis. Out across the 30. He is knocked down near the 34-yard line, and the fight breaks out. Ryan Badegio is right in the middle of it for Chicago.
I guess they won't be saying that his yards didn't mean much in this one.
No. He had 169 the first time these two teams met. He is breaking their back. Berrien. When did Berrien turn into Jerry Rice? Bernard Berrien with a one-handed catch and a throw behind him. Let's go down to Chris Myers.
Joe, just an update medically from behind the Carolina bench. Deshaun Foster with that high ankle sprain is what they're officially calling it after being carted away, is out. He will not return. And defensively, some players that are staying in. Kendall Moorhead has tweaked his left ankle at defensive tackle. Dan Morgan has re-aggravated his separated shoulder. And Julius Peppers needing extra oxygen, but they're all in there.
Grossman looks in Muhammad's direction for the first time in a while and throws over him about 20. It's 3rd down and 1. The biggest threat that the Bears have had today on the outside is Bernard Berrien. And after that last catch, he limped off to the sideline. We heard Pam report that he's bothered by a hip injury.
Well, and I think that Jerry Rice was his favorite player, and that's why he wears number 80.
Well, there you go.
To answer your question. But yeah, he's had a big role in this game. Muhsin Muhammad, on the other hand, he's been pretty quiet here today.
Wonder if Berrien can dance. It's 3rd down and 1. Thomas Jones fighting for the first down. Did he get it? It looks like he did. Looks like they're going to give enough forward progress, and they are, for a first down for Chicago as they trail here by 9 points.
Well, it's just a tough position to be in for this Chicago offense when you're able to go down the field and get points. And so far, the defense just has really not been able to slow Carolina down too much. And the pressure since the first of this game has really been on the Chicago offense.
Brandon Short, linebacker, the strong side linebacker, is down on his back for Carolina. So time is called, and they stretch out that right leg. Brandon Short. For the Chicago Bears, if you go back to the 1985 season, they won Super Bowl 20 over New England. Since then, they've been 2-5 in home playoff games. They don't have a playoff win here at home since 1991. Lovie Smith, in his second year, the coach of the year, is now in a position where he's hoping that his offense.
You know, Kyle Orton, as a rookie, really did a heck of a job. And I know that he didn't put up big numbers, and he ran the game plan the way he was asked to. And it would be wrong for anybody not to give him his due for what he had done. And I know that he would have loved to have been the guy out here playing, but I think he had a heck of a rookie year.
On first down, Grossman is going to have to eat it as he's brought down by Jordan Karstens, who had a big game last week against the Giants. Comes up with a sack here and a loss of 7. That's the first Carolina sack of the day.
Yeah, you know, Jordan Karstens, he's been a heck of a player for this Carolina team now for a couple of years. A free agent acquisition who got his opportunity a year ago when Chris Jenkins went down, and then Chris, of course, got hurt again this year. And you know, I'm not so sure that they're going to find a place for him even when Chris Jenkins comes back, because he's been a vital part of this defensive front.
Clock winding down on this third quarter. It's 2nd and 17. Over the middle, wide open is Gage, and another completion from Grossman. And what a way for this third quarter to end. We point toward the fourth quarter, and Grossman completes one for 24 yards. One more quarter to go. Back after this from your local Fox station. And now it's Chicago trying to move down the field, trailing by 9. They have a first down after that completion of 24 yards to Justin Gage. Wind whipping around. You can hear it in our microphones as Thomas Jones makes a nice move. And gets it down inside the 32, picked up 6. Morgan on the tackle for Carolina.
It's a good job by this offensive line for Chicago, because Carolina certainly knows that they're going to bring up the 8th guy. Here's the safety, Mike Minner, and that's exactly where they're running the football. But the cutback lane there, as you can see, and if you're the Chicago Bears, you've made a living all year long running the football against 8-man fronts. That does not keep them from attempting to run the football.
2nd down and 4. They run it again with Jones, and Jones sticks his nose in there and picks up another Chicago 1st down. Let's go back to the sideline and Pam Oliver.
Hey there, Joe. After Carolina scored that last touchdown, frustration started to build on the part of the defense, but Lovie Smith called that unit over and very calmly told them to settle down. He encouraged the group just to handle their individual business and not to point fingers. Meanwhile, safety Chris Harris seemed to just need a little pick-me-up because the trainers kept shoveling bananas down his throat, but he washed it down with some Gatorade, Joe.
And I tell you what, that's where Lovie Smith is so good. I mean, talking with him, he's even kill all the time.
Grossman with play action. Slings it from Muhammad. 1st and goal, Bears.
Now that was a heck of a catch. Rex Grossman throws it out there. Chris Gamble down.
That's only the 2nd catch, Troy, today from Muhsin Muhammad.
Well, he made this one count, Joe, because Rex Grossman lays it out on the sidelines, and the extension there, in order for Muhsin Muhammad to pull that one in, it looked like Chris Gamble landed on the top of Muhammad.
The number 3 and the number 2 defense in the league on display tonight. There have been 572 total yards of offense. 37 points. Right now they're saying that Gamble's got to come out, and he does. Gamble's still out on the field. We went to break and there was a timeout because he was injured. They stopped the clock. He got attention. He's got to sit out a point.
Yeah, nobody's told him because he's standing over there unaware of what these officials are discussing.
Chris, you're going to have to leave. Now, Carolina could call a timeout if they desperately want him in the game on this 1st and goal. But he's got to come off the field. Trying to get away with one, and you could hear one of the officials in that little huddle saw it, realized
There was not a team timeout, so number 20, who was injured, has to be out of the game for 1 play.
So now Manning comes in.
I guess that tells you what Fox thinks as far as his importance as to whether or not it's worth burning a timeout.
Let's send Manning in. Manning, who has 4 playoff interceptions in his career, all that action back in 2003 when the Panthers ended up in the Super Bowl. Jones looks like he wants to throw it. Now he's just hoping to get back to the line of scrimmage, and in the end he dances for a gain of 2 yards. He was going to throw it. It wasn't there, and wisely he pulled it down.
It was a heck of a job by Thomas Jones. So many times these running backs get the ball, and they work on this in practice, and they don't really, because they're not used to playing quarterback and throwing the football, they don't really ever look to see if the guy's covered or not. They just throw the ball. Now Rex Grossman, he took off running to his left, hoping that Thomas Jones would see him, but he was an ineligible receiver because he took the snap from underneath the center.
2nd and goal. Jones trying to get to the edge. Dives, penalty flags on the play. Jones didn't get there anyway. The line judge has him marked out at the 1, but there are 2 penalty flags down on the field. And Julius Peppers is injured. Gage is trying to argue it should be a touchdown. It looked from our vantage point like Jones lost the football for a moment on his way out of bounds. Let's just take another look. Well, there's the flag. That's why the flag's out there. Jones did lose the football. Did he break the plane?
I don't think he had broken the plane when the ball came out. He tried reaching the ball. Now, depending on what happens with all these penalties, that would be a touchback for him letting the ball go. A little bit like what happened last night in the Denver-New England game.
And that's exactly what they're discussing right now. The ball came out of the hand of Thomas Jones. There's a face mask before he made his dive for the end zone, and it looked like before he got to the plane Yeah, he definitely lost the ball. It crossed the inside of the pylon, but again, a flag down for a face mask on Carolina, and they're still looking at Peppers.
In fact, if I'm not mistaken, Joe, there's 2 flags.
Foul, grasping the face mask on the defense. We also have a touchdown. We will penalize the 15-yard penalty on the kickoff.
Well, I think we have shown enough replays that if Carolina wants to challenge it, they'll have a legitimate shot.
Well, as soon as it was ruled a touchdown, Joe, Lovie Smith immediately ran his field goal team out there to try to get this ball snapped, because I've got to believe John Fox is going to challenge this.
And he has. He just threw the red flag.
Is challenging the ruling on the field of a touchdown.
It's a personal foul variety on the face mask. Carolina challenges that call. So the challenge here from Carolina, there's the personal foul face mask call against Carolina. It looked pretty obvious that Thomas Jones lost the football there before he broke the plane of the end zone. The play was a 2nd and goal from the 7. And on the play, Julius Peppers comes down injured. So during the challenge, they've spent time looking at Peppers. All that's left right now on the playing field of Peppers is his mouth guard. You can see the number 90 in there. So you know it's Peppers, but right now he's on the sideline. I don't know if he got the wind knocked out of him or what. We'll get the call here from Walt Coleman.
After reviewing the play, the ball came out of the runner's hand prior to reaching the goal line. The result of the play would have been a touchback, but due to the personal foul grasping the face mask on the defense on number 27, we will penalize half the distance to the goal from the spot of the foul. 1st and 10.
So because of the face mask called against McCree, it supersedes Jones fumbling the ball through the end zone, which would have given Carolina the ball at their own 20 because of that play right there by McCree. They penalize half the distance to the goal line, and it'll be a 1st down for Chicago as they trail by 9.
Yeah, what a costly face mask there by Marlon McCree, because otherwise you do have the touchback, but because of the face mask, Chicago maintains possession of the ball.
So the ball be placed at the 3.5. The play started the previous play at the 7. So that's half the distance, and it'll be 1st down for Chicago with 12:27 left in this 4th quarter, and what has turned into a much higher scoring affair than anybody could have anticipated coming in to this matchup between John Fox, Lovie Smith, the Carolina defense, and the Chicago defense. 1st and goal. They hand to the fullback, and into the end zone is Jason McKee.
That's probably the last guy that Carolina would have expected to get the ball. Only 3 rushing attempts all season long. And the reason he's playing is because of Brian Johnson's fractured foot. They give him the football. Dan Morgan in a position to make a play, but Jason McKee just is able to run through that tackle and then get it into the end zone.
He did not have a touchdown running it or receiving it all season long. Only touched it 7 times, and Gold gets it inside the left upright. The Chicago offense has caught fire. This latest drive being capped on the 3.5-yard touchdown run by Jason McKee. Their first 5 drives, 34 yards, no points. Their last 4, 21 points. They trail by 2, and Carolina's about to get it back. What a game. Robertson from inside the 10. Robertson with a good return and good field position for Carolina.
I think you said it, Joe. We expected this to be a close game, but we certainly didn't expect that there would be this many points scored within it.
Play action from Jake Delhomme, looking for somewhere to go, and he finds Hoover, who survives a hit from Hillenmeyer, a gain of 6. And Hillenmeyer's slow to get up. Both guys were a little dinged after that.
Jake Delhomme, he's trying to go down the middle to Steve Smith. This time Urlacher, he's able to get underneath him, and that's why he had to come out to Hoover. But there have been a lot of injuries in this game today. We've got a number of players that are no longer on the field, and it seems that with each series, trainers are constantly having to come out.
Hoover's at least able to get up. Big hit on the right shoulder to Hillenmeyer. Peppers is back out on the field. He's looking for his mouthpiece. We found it. It's a good thing we've got Pam and Chris with us to document all this stuff going on down there. Here's Chris.
Yeah, Julius Peppers, Joe, you mentioned moments ago from that end zone. He went right into the locker room. He has just returned to the bench, but with a shoulder injury, questionable, unlikely to return, but he is back on the bench. And again, Deshaun Foster out of this game for Carolina.
Hillenmeyer got rocked on his own hit. Brad Hoover and our camera operator can help Julius Peppers find his mouthpiece. Hillenmeyer able to get up, a guy who fractured his thumb December 4th game here against Green Bay. After the layoff, he's able to play today without a cast on that hand. But that is a vicious hit he laid on Hoover.
Yeah, well, you could see Hillenmeyer, his whole right side after he made contact with Hoover just kind of went numb, and he just fell right to that side, and it looks like he may have some type of burn.
Dr. Aikman, paging Dr. Aikman. For surgery, please. 2nd and 4. A blitz. Pass complete to Kroll. Ricky Kroll with another first down for Carolina. He's had a career, Troy, filled with first down pickups and key touchdowns even in his postseason career.
I mean, it really is unbelievable. And first of all, you got Brian Urlacher coming in late on Jake Delhomme, but you're right. I mean, as far as Ricky Kroll goes, I mean, didn't catch a lot of balls during the regular season, but he just has this ability whenever they kind of need a play or it's an important moment in a game that he's going to be the guy who makes the play for him.
Coming up on 11 minutes left. Carolina now moving it against the Chicago defense. First down, end around. Smith has some room to run. Steve Smith forced out of bounds inside the 25. They'll mark him out at the 22. It's a 22-yard run by Smith.
I think Dan Henning went back to that Steve Smith plan, and trying to get him the ball. And Mike Green right here, he's got contained. He comes flat. He wants to be able to run it down from the backside, not seeing that the reverse was coming in behind him with Steve Smith. Anytime you have contained, particularly with a team that likes to run reverses like Carolina does, that guy has to be disciplined and make sure he stays upfield.
Smith is now across from Vasher on first down. They hand to Goings. Playing without the injured Deshaun Foster, and a nice run by Goings inside the 15 to the 14, a gain of 8.
I tell you, this is really unbelievable what Carolina has done to this Chicago defense. They have made this defense look very average here tonight. Over 400 yards of total offense. Nobody's done anything like what Carolina has done against them here today.
2nd and 2. Handoff to Goings, and Goings has a first down and more inside the 5 to the 4-yard line. Gigantic holes for these running backs to maneuver through, and that time Goings had enough to pick up 10.
Well, Nick Goen, we talked about him and his ability to run the football. This offensive line, I mean, look at the hole there. Brad Hoover, the fullback, helps lead the way, but you know, it wouldn't matter who they had back there right now. With the holes that this offensive line has created, they're going to pick up some good yardage.
Hoover got locked onto Brian Urlacher and just drove him right out of the play. 1st and goal. From the 4, Smith right into his hands and down to the 1. They ran that play all weekend against the Giants, and they've done it consistently here against the Bears. I guess the frightening thing is if you get up on them, they'll just blow right by you.
The only way you can really defense him is you've got to be able to get in his face, but you've got to have a safety that's there so that if he does get by you, you've got some help. But he's been able to run some routes that even take advantage of that. They just want the ball in his hands and for him to have the ability to make people miss, and he's done a great job of that all night.
Chicago seems confused defensively, late substitutions. Play action from Delhomme, wide open is the tight end Mangum for a touchdown. The Bears were confused defensively from the get-go on that play. They brought Johnson in. They took a linebacker and Green out. Tillman was late getting on the field, and in the end, it's Mangum left alone.
He's going to the corner. He chips there on Alex Brown to make it look like it's going to be run. And then Jake Delhomme does the play action. There's nobody there in the corner. Very difficult in play action when you've got a team who does run the ball the way Carolina does in order to stop that and then also be able to play action.
Casey misses the extra point, which is a big play. That is mainly painted dirt. And his plant foot gave way, and with the mixed extra point, it's an 8-point game. Rasheed Davis from about the 1. It's in from behind and gets it to the 20. Back to the extra point. John Casey.
When you see that his foot slips when he starts to kick, this field is sand-based. And so right from the beginning, he was already stumbling before he even started to take his steps to make the kick.
So now from their own 20, the Bears and Rex Grossman are forced to answer. An 8-point lead. Grossman, and that pass is incomplete. No catch by Jason McKee, who has the last touchdown for Chicago. It's 2nd and 10.
You know, they were trying to run a little bit of a double move outside here on Ken Lucas, and they ran the pump fake, and it looked like Rex Grossman had an opportunity, but for whatever reason he got off of it. I know coming into this game they felt that they could take advantage of some of the aggressiveness by these Carolina corners, and that was the first time they had attempted the double move.
2nd and 10. Grossman down the middle into heavy coverage for Clark. And Clark was covered by Witherspoon and Gamble, and there was just nothing there.
You know, I am a little bit surprised. In fact, I'm a lot surprised that even though after a rough start, Rex Grossman has thrown the ball very well, and they've been able to create some plays, they really have not kept Thomas Jones as involved in this game plan as what I thought that they would. He's running the ball very well when he's been getting his opportunities, almost 5 yards a carry. But they just continually throw the football, and now they're facing 3rd and long.
Third and 10, a blitz. Bears pick it up, and the pass incomplete. Intended for Eddie Berlin. And it's 3 and out. So the Carolina defense stiffens up. A few incompletions from Rex Grossman and a punt coming from Maynard.
Well, they got a little bit of pressure on Rex Grossman, but you know, really, he had some time. He thought Eddie Berlin was going to keep running, and Berlin stopped and expected Grossman to hit him in the hole, and that just goes from not having had a lot of work with each other in practice.
Maynard has been busy today with 7th punt. The dangerous Steve Smith takes it from inside the 40. And there's nowhere to go. He's wrestled down back at the 35. They have the ball with 7.5 to go. Look at Steve Smith. 12 catches, 218 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's also run it twice for 23 yards. Handoff is to Goings. Goings pushes the pile for 2.
I think you got to go back and at least address what it was with these Chicago Bears we're talking about coming into this game, Joe. I know that Alex Brown and Ogunleye were talking about how they haven't gotten the respect that they deserve, and these Carolina Panthers and their defense, they've gotten more respect. And sometimes you got to be a little bit careful what you have to say during the course of a week, because if they thought they didn't get respect coming into this game, they're certainly not going to get any after this game's over.
2nd and 8. Bears come on a blitz. A toss to Goings, running to his right. Goings bounces off Boone and is brought down about a half-yard shy of a first down. Todd Johnson on the stop. Alfonso Boone had a shot at Goings and could not bring him down.
Well, and the last thing right now that Chicago can allow Carolina to do is run the football and take time off the clock. With each first down, they're going to continue to take more time off the clock. And there's no question that John Fox, if he can keep from having to throw on this series, he's not going to throw. This is a very important down here for the Chicago Bears.
3rd and 1. Handoff is to Goings, and he will lose yards. Ogunleye was in there. First guy there was Mike Green.
Well, one of the few times tonight that this defense has stepped up when they've had to and made a big stop there on 3rd and 1, forcing a punt. And now they're going to give the ball back to their offense still with plenty of time. And because of the missed extra point, only down 8 points.
5.5 to go, and Baker about to punt it back to the Bears. Thatcher is waiting deep. And Baker hits a good one. Thatcher from the 10. A couple of big hits. And in the end, it's Carl Hankton who brings him down. So 5:13 left. After that slow start, Rex Grossman and the Bears offense picked it up. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman with Elton, Pam, and Chris. I would say this is the drive that the Bears have to put together against what is a defense that's played well coming into this day.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that Chicago has to look at this as though this is going to be their last opportunity in order to score a touchdown and potentially tie this game up. I still believe they've got to keep Thomas Jones involved in what they're doing here and can't rely solely on throwing the football with Rex Grossman. And if they mix it up and stay balanced on this drive, I think they can have some success.
And there's time on the clock to do that. Over 5 minutes left, and they do start with Thomas Jones, who's ridden out of bounds by Will Witherspoon. Jones just back to the line of scrimmage. So it's 2nd and 10. You wondered if the game plan would change with Grossman at quarterback in this game instead of Kyle Orton. And they said, well, it really won't change. We're still going to do what we do. It's just going to be Grossman making the decisions and the throws. It's changed.
Oh, it's changed big time. Yeah, I don't think they would have thrown the ball nearly this much with Kyle Orton.
They've thrown it 32 times, now trying for the 33rd. And here's one of those screens. Jones picks his way. Thomas Jones out across the Chicago 40. They talked about it coming in. They've run it twice, and this time it works.
Well, watch the job Thomas Jones does. Reuben Brown, the left guard, is going to get out in front. He's going to get out in front on the screen, but then watch how Thomas Jones helps set his block up. Right there, he bounces back underneath. Had he have tried to stay out in front of Reuben Brown, he wouldn't have been able to pick up the first down.
Jones comes out for a play. Peterson is in. First down, Chicago. They hand to Adrian Peterson. Almost lost the football. Got it out to the Chicago 49. Under 4 minutes to go, and the Bears down by 8 with 2 timeouts left.
You commented on it there at the end of the first half. At a critical point in the game then, Adrian Peterson was the guy running the football. Now here we are, which will probably be the last opportunity for Chicago. And Adrian Peterson is now back in the game here.
Grossman's having trouble getting the play called in the huddle. And the Bears have to hurry up to the line with 8 seconds to go on the play clock. 2nd and 5. Peterson hits the hole hard. Penalty flag on the play. It's thrown by the umpire. Peterson was brought down about a yard and a half shy of a first down. Indication is it's against Carolina.
Holding 99 defense. 5-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
That's the second time they've nailed Buckner for a defensive hold.
Yeah, so if they've caught him twice, then you wonder how many times he's done it that they haven't caught him.
Or if it was something they were looking for coming in. That was a point of emphasis a couple of years ago. Holding by the defensive line, something that you didn't hear called a lot prior to last year.
And the reason that defenders do it is to hold the offensive linemen and keep them from being able to get up and block the linebacker level.
Peterson is still in there, first down. And Grossman in trouble. Throws it in the direction of looking for, there is a tight end, that's Gabe Reed. He was back in the area. Good thing for Rex Grossman because he was a dead duck back there.
Well, hey, yeah, and these officials are, they all were looking at each other wondering, okay, who's going to throw the flag, because I think they all thought that it could have very easily been intentional grounding, and I would agree with that because he was blocking.
Gabe Reed was hit on the right thigh by that pass, so it's 2nd and 10. 3:13 to play. Blitz. Grossman in trouble again, throws incomplete. And Grossman ends up on his back. Hit by Witherspoon, and there's a flag downfield at the Carolina 20. That's way back in the secondary.
I know Musa Muhammad jumped up and was yelling that he was held. Ken Lucas would have been the guy, but completely away from where Rex Grossman was going with the football.
You can see Witherspoon saying, hey, the pass was tipped. The officials now will get the call from Coleman.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, 23, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
The key is prior to the pass because it was tipped, but there's the illegal contact and an automatic first down. That is the 6th, Troy, the 6th first down the Bears have been handed by a Carolina penalty.
Yeah, they have given them some opportunities. Carolina, that is, with some penalties, have kept drives alive because the Bears were looking at, again, a long down situation, and then they pick up the first down here.
With 3:09 to go. Handoff is to Jones, who's back in there, and Thomas picks up nothing, maybe half a yard. And the game clock is under 3 to play. It's going to be a situation where if the Bears score a touchdown, they'll have to go for 2 as they trail by 8.
On this drive, Carolina certainly has not hesitated with bringing pressure. The last 3 plays, they've brought linebackers.
There's Deshaun Foster with crutches on the bench. Grossman fires. Muhammad incomplete. Help from McCree coming over the safety as he helped to break it up. Lucas was on the initial coverage.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that's the second time tonight that Rex Grossman's tried fitting a ball in on double coverage, and it's very difficult when you don't have anybody holding the safety. He tries fitting one in there to Musa Muhammad. Ken Lucas running up the field with him, and McCree looked like he was more interested in putting a hit on Muhammad than he was to make the interception, but that's a ball that's very difficult to complete in this league.
3rd down and 10. Looked like the play clock expired, but Grossman fires, and he's picked off by Lucas. Lucas with another interception. Stepped in front of Gage. Grossman threw it right to him. And Lucas, who had one last week at the Giants, gets one here against Rex Grossman.
Yeah, this time Ken Lucas was in what they call a trail technique, and Gage is running a square in. It was not a well-run route on his part. He rounds it off as he's trying to get inside to the middle. But Ken Lucas, who's trailing him the whole way, is underneath that throw.
You know what's interesting, Troy, is that play should have never happened. The play clock is at 0 before that ball is snapped. That play should have been blown dead before it ever happened. Instead, the officiating crew missed it. They let the play happen, and Grossman throws the interception to Lucas. Chicago with 2 timeouts to take defensively as Goings gets to the edge. Wisely stays in bounds as he picks up the first down. Actually going to be marked about a yard shy of a first down. He needed to get out to the 32. He got to the 31, and that'll take this game to the 2-minute warning.
I'm not so sure they shouldn't burn the timeout here, Joe.
They'll let it wind down. 2 minutes left. The trip to Seattle on the line. Carolina leading by 8. Second down and 1. 2 minutes left. Carolina trying to stamp their ticket to Seattle. Goings is brought down in the backfield by Briggs. And Chicago will spend one of its 2 remaining timeouts. With 1:54 to go, Briggs comes through and makes the play. A loss of 4.
That was a heck of a job by Lance Briggs getting in there again underneath the blocking and making a huge play and stopping them and really creating the loss there. So now they're in a manageable 3rd down, at least defensively.
Right.
And this is huge. I mean, this is the game right here for Chicago. They have to stop them on this play if they're going to have any chance. Otherwise, Carolina just runs the clock out.
You're right, dude. That's a big play on 2nd and 1. You think, okay, they get a first down. They're basically in a position to run the clock out. Now they lose 4. It's 3rd and 5. And if Chicago can come up with a stop on 3rd down, they'll burn a timeout and get the ball back with at least a chance. Play action, they hand it to Smith. Smith looking for the first down, and he won't get it. Chicago spends their final timeout. And with 1:45 to go, it's 4th down.
Well, Joe, and it looked like if Steve Smith had stayed outside, there was nobody there. You got him on the ground. You got a block here. He stays out here. It's a first down. Instead, he tries coming underneath the Jeff Mitchell block on Alex Brown, and he just gets enough of him, and then pursuit winds up getting to him. But with Steve Smith and his speed, had he have stayed out on the edge, not only does he pick up the first down, he probably picks up about 15 or 20 more yards.
As it is, the Bears will get it back. Grossman is getting prepared to go. His last throw is an interception into the arms of Lucas for the first Bear turnover of the day. Carolina has one on an Urlacher interception of DeLome.
And the one area where Rex Grossman has probably not gotten much work in practice or otherwise is in the 2-minute drill.
Vasher waiting for the punt. Takes it into the 25, and he goes backward, brought down by Wesley. Dante Wesley, and a 5-yard loss on that return by Vasher. So now 1:36 left, no timeouts, and Chicago needs a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie. We're at Soldier Field in Chicago. The Carolina Panthers defensively 1:36 away from going to their 3rd championship game in their franchise history, which dates back to 1995. While the Bears are trying to get to Seattle, it'll take a heroic effort over the middle, tipped and incomplete. Just engage the intended receiver at 2nd and 10.
Well, right now, Carolina is coming with a 3-man rush, and that means they're dropping 8. And what they're trying to do is guard against the sideline, not allow them to catch the ball and get out of bounds, because Chicago does not have any timeouts. They want to force the ball to be thrown in the middle of the field and take as much time off the clock with each completion.
On 2nd down, Grossman with time to the sideline, finds his receiver, Muhammad. And Muhammad rolls out of bounds with a completion up to the 36-yard line, 1st down.
It was a good job by Musa Muhammad knowing what he had to do. He's running the comeback, going down low to make the catch, but then getting out of bounds to stop the clock. There's still plenty of time with 1:24 left.
Gage in to get the call from Grossman before the snap. Pressure from Rucker. Grossman steps up. And his knee sticks into the ground as he tries to slide. There's a guy who's had reconstructive knee surgery, jamming his knee into the ground. It's 2nd down and the clock continues to wind.
Well, you just wonder how many plays are at his disposal because he is so limited in playing.
Pass is incomplete. Crowd wants a flag and they're not going to get it. It's 3rd down. Just engage the intended receiver. Lucas on the coverage.
Yeah, this is the play that they've had some success with throughout the game, the slant. But that time, because again, he's got safety help over the top with Mike Minner. Now he's able to crowd that throw a little bit more, and Ken Lucas makes a good play.
So far today on 3rd down, 3 out of 12. It's 3rd and 5. 2 downs to get 5 yards. Pass is caught but short of a 1st down. That's Clark. He's going to be a yard shy of a 1st down, and it's 4th down.
And just as long as Rex Grossman knows he can't clock it, it's 4th down. You've got to throw this one to get the 1st.
Grossman throws, the pass incomplete. There are no flags on the field, and the Carolina Panthers just stamped their ticket to Seattle. Muhammad, the intended receiver, it's incomplete, and the Panthers take over with 41 seconds left.
Well, they try to come up and run the slant. Sometimes on 4th and 1 in a no huddle, the quarterback will just take the snap and run a quarterback sneak, but we're not able to make the completion, and now Carolina just takes a knee. And you know, Rex Grossman, I felt, Joe, after the start that he played well, and this defense just didn't give him the help that I think everybody expected coming into this game.
I agree. And over the top, trying to make a play with DeLong taking a knee. It gets a little ugly out on the field. There's now 29 seconds left and counting. There are no flags. Is trying to make a play over the top, hoping for some sort of fumble. They didn't get it. The Bears tried to make the play, and 16 seconds left on the play clock. That's it. This game is over, and the Carolina Panthers will make their 3rd trip to a championship game in their franchise history, a history that goes back to 1995. Congratulations to Jake Delhomme, John Fox, Jerry Richardson, and the Panther organization. They had enough today to get past Chicago. It's on to Seattle. 24 is coming up later. We'll come back and wrap up our day right after this.